If we can just start with the basic background of what you guys do.
Yep. So we farm in a family partnership between my wife's family, her two brothers and her parents, between our farm here in Kojonup and a farm in Franklin. Here we manage this farm, so we'll probably just talk about this farm. It's just under 1,600 hectares in size. Of that, we crop about 820 hectares to a canola, wheat, barley rotation with lupins thrown in for sheep feed.
And the type of canola? Is it
we grow GM canola and just mainly just feed barley. And we grow hard wheat.
You go hard wheat, okay.
Yeah.
All spring wheats?
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got Septa, which is frosted.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, got frosted this year.
Okay.
And
some loops.
Yeah.
Have you tried any winter varieties?
Never tried winter varieties.
Of wheat, obviously.
Yeah, no. I have seen some, have been looking at it, but haven't tried any winter wheat as of yet.
Yeah.
Did try faba beans for 2 years. Liked what they did, but just for our program, we were just playing around with it, like 30 hectares, but to do it properly, we needed to go to a bigger scale of like 100 hectares.
So, and you see you've got the pH to do it?
Yeah, so our pH is between 5.5 to 6. We have gone heavy on the liming over the years, and we pretty much we haven't soil tested for a few years, but every year on our canola rotation we do 1.5 tons of lime, no matter what. It goes on all our canola country as like a maintenance thing, because now we've got built it up so high. That's sort of what we do.
You don't have to go high.
Yeah, so but we'll be soil testing again this year to see what our levels are at, to see if we have to go to 2 ton. But we have gone 3 years where we have been throwing 2 ton, and that we've limed all our pastures in the last sort of 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
And that to build the pH up on those.
So then you see your base rotation, do you fixed rotation or paddock dependent rotation?
It's a fixed rotation. So most of these paddocks here, we've been here for 15 years. Most of the paddocks here have been in for 15 plus years.
Okay, and what's the rotation?
So it used to be canola wheat. We did that for a long time, and about in the last 4 or 5 years, we've gone to a canola barley then wheat, then we've changed it now to a canola wheat barley in the last 2. Yeah, we just found the canola wheat rotation, we had a lot of nematode issues.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, because we did that for years and years and years, and we just found we couldn't do that anymore.
Cool. Yeah. And so canola, so canola's the carrier, so you want to space it out?
Yeah.
With another cereal?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, and then so if a paddock's in rotation, it's permanent rotation, otherwise it's pasture.
Yeah.
Permanent pasture.
Yeah, so the pasture paddocks we have here are mainly paddocks that we can't crop, but we have taken paddocks out that have been underperforming, so we've taken them out. And just the way how the world is, we've been increasing our sheep numbers. So we have 2,500 head here.
Ewes?
Yeah, all ewes.
Merino?
All merino mothers. 1,000 are mated to merinos, and 1,500 are mated to crossbreds. We used to all be just full crossbred, buying ewes and do that, but now this is our first year we're actually breeding our own, replacing stock.
Too expensive to buy. Yeah.
So we're going to more of a
And what sort of crossy?
Pole Dorsets. We breed our own rams here.
Oh, you breed
on
your
our farm. So
Pole Dorset or both?
Pole Dorset.
Sell or just for your internal use?
Internal use, and we do sell some.
Okay.
Yeah, all merino ewes.
So you're saying the 1,000?
So we made 1,000 ewes to merinos, and then the balances to crossbreds.
But now you're going to keep. Yeah, okay. Oh, so you were all crossies. So
we were all crossies forever,
got myself confused.
we just changed it around.
Is that because because of the wool price?
Just more to do with just buying ewes. We're buying a couple of thousand ewes a year for the whole farming enterprise, and just getting too expensive. You just can't find the ewes that you want.
Yeah.
Like you just end up buying everyone else's culls, and to try to buy nice lines, it's very expensive. So.
Yeah, it does. Well, now that so many ewes now going over east as well, and they seem to pay unbelievable money.
Yeah, like we breed Border Leicester ewes, ewe lamb, we breed Border Leicester lambs down at Franklin, and we sell them, the ewe lambs, to buy merino ewes.
Yeah, okay.
And that's we have a big breeding program with that.
Lambing percentages you aim for?
We scan all our ewes. I think this year we did, I can't remember quite exactly what we did, but we did over 100%.
Yep.
So
on scanned or on joined?
On joined.
Yep.
Oh no, sorry, it was just under 100%. Sorry, just under, in the mid-90s.
Is that going up or down, or?
We're finding it's going up because we've gone from a May lambing to a end of June lambing, and we now confinement feed.
Okay.
To let our pastures get away, and that, so we're having a lot better conception and lambing.
So the break of the season, you bring everything in?
Yeah, so once pretty much when we sort of start cropping, we sort of take everything off the stubbles and they get locked up. They get locked up in confinements, and they don't go out into the pastures till there's enough food in the paddock to support them.
What size are you with the confinement?
Our confinements vary from about 4 hectares to about 10. Yeah, just flat out feeding them. Yep. They get grain. We try to, depends what we're doing on the farm, but we try to feed like every day with grain, and then they get hay every second day. And that, but depends what's going on. Like Diety does pretty much all the feeding in confinement because we're busy putting crops in, so she handles that sort of job.
And what's the target food before you let them out?
Oh, I can't remember now. It's just, I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah.
And do you feed them some of the stuff that you grow here?
So we pretty much we keep all our own barley and lupins on farm.
Yep.
And we cut our own hay. So this year, like we had leftover hay from last year, but with our confinements, as soon as the sheep are out, we re-sow them down. Yep. And we grow oats in there for hay. Okay. So we can either cut hay or wean lambs into the confinements. You plant down
pastures, or it's just?
We've just been mainly planting down pastures when we take them out of the cropping cycle, but we're starting to do more and more pasture manipulation, just cleaning up pastures, getting more of a clover base sort of pasture. Yeah, and just like spray topping now.
So soil testing, organic carbon. Also, soil types, I guess. What are your major?
We're mainly loam over clay here, so clay is not very far under the surface.
So you call it duplex?
Yeah. So when it gets wet here, we get wet. Once that clay gets full, we're in trouble. So as we found out this year. But like it's a good little farm. It's a good farm.
Have you tried? Are you doing any amelioration?
So we have got a big plough, we've got a big grizzly plough. Yeah. So we are now doing anywhere we have a bit of like gravel, non-wetting sort of issues. We do that in our cropping phase.
So just to mix the non-wetting.
Yeah, mix the non-wetting up, and we're having very good results from that. Yeah. We did a trial a couple of years ago, about 13 hectares, and when we were harvesting on the yield monitor, it was going from like a 3 tonne average to up to a 6 tonne in a barley crop on the ploughed country. Yeah,
shit, that does make a bite.
Hence why we bought one. And now, we do, between the two farms, we do about 500 hectares a year.
Yeah, okay.
500-600 hectares between the two farms.
Yep.
Of that, so.
Is that maybe a lot more gravel down that one?
A lot more gravel down at Franklin. Yeah, they have lots of forest gravel. Yeah. So, but we've got some country to do this year, and then we'll be done here.
It's not every year?
No, it's sort of, we're doing it now. It'd be interesting to see over time how often we have to do it. Yeah. So it's more of a trial sort of thing at the moment. Hopefully we don't have to do it for a long time, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
So we use SE. We have liquids on our bar, so we put 2 litres of SE14 down with liquid fertiliser down the tube.
So where that goes, like down near with the seed?
Yeah, so down next to the seed, yep. We haven't had any burning issues yet, but we've been doing it for the last 2 years and haven't had any burning issues. Some people say they're worried about the SE14 and the Flexian going down together. It might be a burning issue,
Yeah, okay.
but we haven't seen any yet.
Yeah.
Sort of as the seed germinates.
Yeah, they're worried it's just too hot.
Yeah. I suppose if it wets up, it makes it really access to that liquid nitrogen. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. And then so organic carbon, organic matter. Do you monitor that?
It'd be interesting to see. We haven't soil tested for about 5 years, so I'm interested to see here, especially because we've gone away from burning.
Yep.
Like this year was our first year of going away from burning.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be interesting to see how they sort of correlate from always burning everything to now not burning anything. So
full stubble retention.
Yeah, we're doing full stubble retention now here. So we still will do a little bit of burning where we have to, just for like weed suppression and that. But yeah, pretty much trying not to burn as much or as little as we can.
Yeah. So for weeds, you windrow?
It's sort of more just burn the blanket burn stubble.
The whole lot.
Yeah. And that, so like that, the front paddock when you came in, that'll be getting burnt because it's huge. We've desiccated it, but we'll burn it as well because that's going into canola.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll just give that a burn just to try to tidy it up. But yeah, try not to. But just burn where only burn where we absolutely have to.
And so do you think this soil carbon's going up, down? You don't?
I'm hoping it'll go up with not burning. We are finding we're having a better strike rate with our seeding, with not burning anymore. It seems to hold the moisture in. The ground's not drying out.
Cooler.
Yeah, so we are finding that is working in our favour. Because we've only got the old style sort of double spring sort of bar. We don't have a precision seeder, so
the ball go.
Yeah, the ball go in the shed. So so I'm finding.
What's your spacing?
10 inch.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm just finding with keeping the stubble, it's made seeding a lot better. So we sort of can't chase the old furrow lines like with the more precision sort of seeding gear. So.
But when you're harvesting, you cut it low, chop it.
Cut it at sort of beer can height, so we can get sort of through it, and we find that we can get through fine.
Yeah, okay. And then you got choppers?
One header has a chopper, one doesn't, but we seem to be able to get through fine. I sort of crash graze the.
Oh, you graze.
So I graze all the stubbles, but what we do, we box have big mobs we use, like 1,000 sort of head sort of mob, and we put them in there and leave them in there, and they sort of smash it down a lot more, and we find that works quite well.
Do you actively monitor to keep ground cover? Except when you got to do burning. Yeah.
Oh, like in pasture paddocks. Try to get the sheep off so the sort of cover to stop blowing. Never really had a problem with blowing in pasture paddocks. It's more been blowing in cropping paddocks when we burnt.
Yes.
And so that's one of the reasons why we're trying not to burn anymore, just because the blowing effect, especially once we've burned. But other than that, we always try to keep enough grass cover to keep the pasture paddocks from blowing. We don't really have a lot of sand country here, so we're very lucky. So
where do you sit in your landscape?
So we're sort of the top of the water catchment, like the Tarrant Creek starts here and that flows into the Blackwood River catchment.
So that's the top of it. So it's the best place to be.
Yeah, so we're at the top of it, and that's it's quite undulating here. It's not very flat really. It's
So do you have wet areas?
Yeah, so it's not really, our soil types aren't very well drained. When we get wet here, it sort of stays wet for a long time, which is not too bad in a dry year because it stays wet, so it's not too bad. But then in years like this year, it's been pretty hard going. So, but we get the jobs done, make a bit of a mess.
And looking at any sort of tram lining or?
So we're going down the control traffic line. I bought a new sprayer a few years ago that went on to 3 metres, and that tractor is going to 3 metres this year. With
the waterlogging areas, you have like small areas that are popping where you just get really wetter than others, or is it because you're high enough in your catchment?
No, we have lots of waterlogging issues here. Like most years it's not too bad. We have small areas affected, but like in a year like this, we had vast areas of the paddocks.
Do you look at perennials or those tile drains? Looking at tile drains?
I have done a bit of reading about it, but it's probably not. Probably need to see more work done on it first. It's very expensive. Yeah. That's probably the biggest factor. We've actually just started doing some drainage with the excavator. We've done about 2 Ks last summer.
Surface drains?
It's just surface drains, to sort of cleaning out the valley floor. It's the previous owners, they planted saltwater couch and puccinelia, and it's created like a swampland, so the water doesn't flow.
Because it catches all. It
catches, yeah. So we've just sort of defined the creek line, just opened it up so it can sort of naturally flow. Mm-hmm. Like we don't go very deep, we just go to the clay bed, just more or less just taking the sediment off, just so it can help it flow. So
is it sort of like a?
Yeah, so like a V, and then with a flat bottom. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've done 2 Ks of that last summer, and we'll probably do another K this year. Mm-hmm. Eventually, we'll do all the creek lines.
And you graze creek lines?
Some we do, some we don't, because we've been planting pretty prolifically with trees. So they're not high enough. They're not at a stage where you can let sheep in to graze. But later on, yes, we will use them as like a natural sort of haystack.
Yes. So creek bed or creek. What's the
riparian?
The edge of the creek management is a priority.
Yeah, like we're going to have to sort of rig something up with spraying probably, to sort of keep, just so we don't silt up, so we can keep the new drain sort of areas flowing. Just another job to add to the list. But I think
spare time you've got.
Yeah, we spend a fair bit of time or funds doing it, so we need to make sure we look after it. And but we have noticed a huge difference in the creek lines. They're not waterlogged. Some of the trees are looking healthier because I was just in water all the time. And where we have put them, that landscape has actually dried out a lot more. Yep. So it is actually working.
The extra planting and
from the extra planting and the draining, sort of making an impact. And it's only was quite handy being the wettest year probably in the district for a long, long time. It sort of it actually showed that it's actually working. So it flows all year.
And fresh or salty?
Depends.
Yeah.
Depends. Sometimes it's salty, and we have a lot of salt here. We have a lot of salt. So all the creek lines have got salt.
Is it getting wider, or
it has been getting wider? That's why we've sort of been pretty hard on the land care. Like we've planted 40,000 trees in 15 years. We've done 17 Ks of fencing off creek lines. So we've done, fencing it off and letting it cover. We have puccinelia in the creek lines, which from when we first came was all sculled. Now it's all covered over. So just sort of letting it sort of like just keep the sheep off it, because the farm was leased out for 25, 30 years. So it was in a fair bit of disrepair when we took over, and we've slowly sort of been planting trees, re-fencing off all the creek lines, keeping the sheep off, and it's sort of repairing itself. And there's new trees sort of germinating, and the salt-tolerant grasses are covering the scald, which is good. So, and that sort of, it's slowed down. It hasn't sort of, where we've done that, it hasn't sort of expanded.
And then the aim is once you get it fully recovered to try and graze it, or if you leave the fences up?
Fences will always stay. They will always stay. Yeah, no, I don't want sheep in there all the time. Yeah. Spent too much time and effort to repair it. There'll always be fences up. Yeah. We've sort of redesigned paddock layouts so that the creek is sort of will always be like a paddock boundary.
Yeah, okay.
And that so that they'll always be fenced, and we can manage fire risk and that once the trees get big enough to let the sheep just go in there and graze it a bit, just to keep the grass down a bit, just so fire risk.
Some controlled grazing.
Yeah, they don't go in there for very long. Just sort of go in there for a week and then take them out and let them go back in again. But yeah, no, sort of don't try to overgraze it.
And with your seeding, you seed on contours, or to do water management at all?
No.
You just go
back and forwards. Yeah, longest run.
Okay.
And that, so it sort of depends. With canola, we sort of go on a bit of a diagonal. So you're going
from last year's.
Yeah. So you're crossing over your old furrows to pick up that moisture.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, no. Sort of like when we go get more control traffic wise, we'll probably be
north south or east west.
Probably east west.
East west. Yep.
But it's a bit hard with some paddock layouts. There's just a million turns. And with staff, you got to make it easy, and that's so you don't want to go, driving them nuts.
No. It's hard to get away from the longest run.
Yeah.
Just this one tree in a paddock can annoy you, and you got to turn your wheel for some reason.
Yeah, we don't have many paddock trees. That's why we are mainly just flat out planting trees in creek lines and that, because it's a very arable farm. That was one of the attractions for the farm when my wife's family bought the farm. It's a very productive arable farm.
You got a percent?
There's 1,264 hectares of arable country, so there's only 240 hectares of unarable. So it's pretty reasonable.
That's good. Just touching a little bit on regen farming, but do you consider yourself a landscape manager that's a farmer, or that's a sheep and crop farmer, or a sheep and crop farmer that manages? And how do you rank sustainability, longevity?
Pretty high here. Very lucky to have what we've got here. I suppose I want to give it to. I've got 2 children who are pretty keen farmers. I've got a son and a daughter. They both love the farm, so pretty much want to give them something that's in better condition than what we got it. So I think looking after the landscape and that is very important for us to be able to be still farming here on the size of the farm that we got in 20, 30 years time. So I think you got to look after it. Like, you can't keep just sort of going on the way how it's always gone on. You got to look after the land so it looks after you. So I find it's pretty high up on for us. So for my wife and I.
Yeah. Diversity, plant diversity within the whole farm.
Tree and shrubs.
Tree, shrubs.
Yeah, so
you've got to.
Yeah, so we have trees and shrubs, salt tolerant tree. We grow non-salt tolerant, salt tolerant trees and shrubs as well.
So of the 40,000 trees, when you're planting a diversity.
Yeah, diversity of trees and shrubs.
I could probably find you the species list if you wanted.
And that, so you got to have a bit of a mix. I do like trees, but we grow shrubs as well. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And that, so.
And pastures, are they a diverse pasture mix?
It's sort of clover ryegrass, sort of mix, predominantly clover, and that with a bit of ryegrass, but it's predominantly clover-based pastures here.
Microorganisms, bugs, when you're trying to, when you use insecticide, you kill them, the bad ones, but it kills everything.
Yeah.
Is that something, I don't know how you manage that without killing everything?
It's a hard one, just being in we don't do time rate spraying on our clover pastures anymore.
Yeah.
We haven't done that for quite some time, so we haven't used Leitch on the farm for a long time.
Okay. Yeah.
Like with growing canola, it's sort of a thing you have to do. And that's where burning used to help, because you'd be killing bugs and that. I found with going to trying to keep full stubble retention, the bug pressure is a little bit more harder. As I've sort of noticed, and that. So, but we're just dealing with it. We are still pretty reliant on insecticides.
You do more of a case of monitoring your crops and stuff rather than just doing it. And this is the time of the year to do it.
Like it's a blanket. So when we're seeding, we'll always put an insecticide out with a knockdown. That's just the way we do it, and then later on it's just a monitor. Hopefully we don't have to do it again. Most of the time we don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
But
like alpha-cypermethrin for an aphid spray.
Like a later anti-feed.
Feed?
Only if we have to.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's not a stock standard. Just do it. It's only if we have to do it. So, and it's usually if we have to do something, it's not everywhere. It's sort of just it hit and miss around the farm.
When I was in agro, that was just did time right. This is in the 90s. Did time right. Did anti-feed.
Yeah.
Just.
Before years ago, that's what we did. That's just what you do. And
which is endosulfan on the canola.
Yeah, and now it's just sort of like you just got to save $1 wherever you can. So like you only do what you have to do, really. Yeah.
Do you put out a Telstar or anything?
Yeah, so bifenthrin and chlorpyrifos sort of.
Do that, to give yourself some time.
Yeah, just with seeding going on and that just so we do it straight up. So we've had a problem where we forgot about a paddock and the bugs got it. We were down at the other farm and didn't come back and she was eaten. So it's sort of now just a prerequisite.
So, do you get slopes?
We don't have a lot of red country here. Brother-in-law's down at Frank got a lot of red country where they have a lot of problems. That's why they still like burning, because it slows the slugs down. We've got a few patches, but we just sort of go out and just monitor and that. So
they seem to be very hit and miss.
Yeah, it just depends on the year and that. So
So when you're grazing, you're rotationally grazing?
We're set stock.
Set stock.
Yeah.
Okay. Any reason?
It's just sort of the way that my father-in-law did it. So it's sort of the way we've always done it. So we've always been set stockers, and that's sort of it works for us. And that. When we're sort of like if we pulled a paddock out of pasture, we'll reseed it, and then we'll rotate a bit through that. But but other than that, no, that's we're set stock.
And you're running big mobs of ewes or small?
We sort of work on about 7 sheep to the hectare.
Yep. Okay.
So
7 ewes.
Yep.
And plus lambs.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then you're putting out with your fertiliser. Is it just like a super potash type mix, and you come back with the nitrogen in?
So we mainly just use super potash. The last few years, it's been cheaper to buy cropping fert, so we've just done cropping fert.
Yeah, okay.
And that because it's worked out cheaper, but we're going back to super next year. Price wise, we've done liming. Flexian bursts occasionally, but not very often. No, it depends on the year, I think. And that we didn't do any this year because feed, we just haven't been able to get on top of the feed this year. But if things are tight, we might put a little bit out, but not a lot, not the whole blanket farm sort of spray, no.
Yeah, okay. And then if you looked at, I know you got some perennials on the creek lines, but have you looked at perennials as a lucerne or a kike or?
We've grown a bit. We throw a little bit of lucerne in with our when we reseed a paddock.
Okay. Yeah.
And Ceradella.
Oh, yeah.
And that, but other than that, no. We've got some country out the back. Next door neighbour, there's 10 hectares of sand which we're playing around with. That's where there's a soak out there, and we'll probably put some perennials out there eventually. That's sort of the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems to work well. We've been getting the roots down there.
Yeah, so.
Would you do perennial shrubs that they would eat, or just pasture?
Probably there is Takasasti out there.
Is there?
Yeah, there's in a pine plantation. They planted a heap of tags.
It's on neighbour's farm?
No, on ours. There's a bit of a pine plantation on a section of it that the regional owners planted a heap of pines there on a section of it. But there is some Takasasti in there that grows quite well. But yeah, no, could grow, I don't know if saltbush will go down there, but maybe something.
Yep.
And that. So it's just a matter of just trying to get the stock there into that little pocket.
Right. Yeah, okay. And the pines is not for sale?
It's just a block of pines that they planted 30 40 years ago.
Under a contractor?
No, there's pines just where we go get a pine tree every year for Christmas. That's all they are, and the kids like going down there and playing under the pines and picking pine cones.
Nice. Yeah, okay. All right.
Good fire starters.
Yeah.
So and then how do you go? Like I guess the other the regen farming ones is the human function. How do you find like community? I guess labour. How do you find? I guess how important is that, and then how difficult is that getting labour and good labour?
We're pretty lucky doing our regen work because we have a fairly big staff. I've got one workman here, and then down at the other farm they've got my two brother-in-laws, and then they've got 3 staff. So we have plenty of labour. Like we planted 14,000 trees this year with 6 of us.
Yeah, okay.
So it took like a day and a half. So.
And have they been on with you for a while?
My staff has just done 10 years.
Oh, I see.
And another member down at Franklin, he's just done 12 years with us, and the other 2 are quite new. Yeah. They've been with us 12 months. So.
And do you get casuals?
We get casuals only in at harvest time.
It's just like backpackers, or you've got?
We have a bloke that comes every year. So he's been coming for 5-6 years. So we're pretty lucky. Yeah, they just.
You're not too exposed to the labour market.
Yeah, no, we're not exposed to it, so it's good. And he knows the gear, and we've known him for a long time, so he's good.
Yeah. Oh, and so your seeding system.
Yep.
Is not min-till? Or?
Yeah, knife points.
Knife points.
And they're 12 mil.
In furrow?
12 mil knife points they are. Single shoot bar. 10-inch spacing.
Single shoot.
With a liquid system.
And with your burning, with your stubble retention, are you Treflan? You still using Treflan?
Still using Treflan.
And that with a Sakura or
using Sakura.
So you use both, and you think do you get enough ground cover with your Treflan?
Lots of water.
Lots of just high water rates.
High water rates. Yeah, 100 litres.
Oh shit, that's a lot.
Yeah,
of water.
So I love going back to fill up my sprayer.
Yeah.
And hence why I bought a 6,000 litre. Yeah. We're doing that. We upgraded the sprayer, so to a 6,000 litre tug along. So just so you can get more water at high rates.
Right, you get enough down there. Yeah, okay. All right.
While you're on the subject of water, do you have enough dams and water, or are you looking at desal, or do you have bores or that?
We have sunk some bores, which we tried the other year. We didn't find any. But then I had a water advice. We were going to do some boring last summer, but we didn't end up doing it. We've cleaned every dam on the farm. Every dam has had the excavator run through it. New catchments. We're going away from the old contour drains now to rotor catchments. We're finding that rotor catchments are working better, and they're not cutting paddocks in half. Just for control traffic, it's far better. We've filled in a few old smaller dams that weren't keeping water. We've got one big salty dam that was the biggest dam on the farm, but they put at the bottom of the valley floor. So it's got a dirty, great big excavator drain through the back of it, trying to drain it out, and the salt has actually stopped going out from it. So it's sort of not trapping. It's like a big bathtub sort of effect. So we're stopping that. All the dams are full after this good year. So have played around with the idea of desal. It's still a bit too expensive, I find, at the moment to get into it. Maybe we'll probably try boring again, in maybe the next few years. Just depends on sort of finances and
for security.
Yeah, just for security.
Because you got low like 2 years ago.
Yeah, we pretty much last summer we were pretty much nearly out of water.
But you didn't have to cart.
Didn't have to cart. Yeah. I carted water for the house and that. So other than that, yeah, we were lucky with stock wise. Yeah, we had enough water to get through, and then it miraculously started raining, and we were getting good runoff, and it was pretty lucky. So we've got enough water. We've been a few of our smaller dams have been expanding, and that. So when they were empty, we had a lot of 1,000-yard dams. That's just what you sort of built here back in the day when the original owners did. So we're now about 4,000 yarders. We're sort of blowing them out to that. So we sort of strategically sort of placed around the farm so you can actually pump some water. We have a diesel pump with a helical-rotor pump on it, and lots of poly pipe.
Yeah.
And you guys have just done that based on how you know the water flows, or have you had someone come and help?
Just sort of
better design,
just sort of the way we've been here for 15 years now, so sort of know how the water sort of flows around here. And that, and
solar?
The house dams are on mains power at the moment, but we'll be changing our one here over to solar maybe this summer, because the old power lines are getting a bit dodgy, and that they're a bit of a worry. So eventually we'll go to solar pump on a house dam, but we have a little diesel pump that pumps water around the farm when we need to, but when that dies, we'll probably go to a little, like a solar system that we can move around the farm.
It's amazing what they do now.
Yeah.
And how it can be a full cloud day.
Yeah, and
they're still pumping along.
I know, they tick along.
What's your tech like on your machines?
So we have John Deere guidance on our spraying and spreading tractor, and then we have our seeding tractor's also got auto steer. The harvesters have got auto steer, and variable rate.
Hydraulic?
My spraying tractor's got it's the electric steering. Yeah. Both my tractors are both electric steering. The headers are hydraulics. They're newer, but yeah.
You use John Deere Link?
No, we haven't got John Deere Link set up on it. No.
Yeah.
And that we've just gone. I'm on SF2 on my sprayer, but I'll go the next one up.
Yeah.
For spraying next year, if you want to get more. It just still likes to wander a little bit. It's still not quite where I want it to be, and that's so.
Yeah. Well, I think once you go to the hydraulic's better than the.
Yeah.
That almost gets you back to S1, SF1.
Yeah. No, my tractor's too old. Like my spraying tractor is like got 7,000 hours on it, and my seeding tractor's got about the same amount of hours. So. Yeah. And that, but it's just sort of. For what we do here, they're fine. Eventually, we'll have to outlay them, but don't really want it at the moment because you can't get anything, and it's just ridiculous.
Isn't it?
The COVID tax and everything's ridiculous. So we just bought a new rogator.
Oh, sprayer.
Yeah, for down at the other farm, from my brother-in-law's. But that was supposed to be February delivery, and now it's April.
Yeah, okay.
So, and it's been a 7-8 week wait on a ride-on.
Is it?
Yeah. I think if you want a new gator, a friend of mine just bought a new gator, and it's 12 months.
What do you about land prices? What do you think? I mean, they've just gone ballistic.
We just bought a block down at Franklin for we pay $3,000 an acre.
Maybe cheaper now.
It is cheap now. It was well buying. It's ideal. Like it was where it was situated. It was right next door to my wife's family farm. It was part of the original farm, so that's one of the huge attractive things. That it's part of their old original family farm that they took up. I think my brother-in-law's kids. I think they'll be the 6th generation. So the farm's been in the family for over 120, 150 years or something. Yeah, they've been there forever.